All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to Pierce the Canvas podcast. And this time we got a little bit of a special edition, as of course we had NXT Takeover 30 just last night. I had a pretty crazy day yesterday, so I couldn't get time to go live right after the show. But here we are on this Sunday afternoon. We had a pretty all around good show. The main event, which of course we'll be getting to, I wasn't a fan of. I'm just gonna say that. Pretty much everything else was damn good though. We started right off the bat with Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. Of course, we saw on last week's NXT, Finn Balor and Velveteen Dream fought for the number one contender spot to see who will advance to the ladder match. And of course, Velveteen Dream came away with the win. Afterwards, Timothy Thatcher had attacked Finn Balor, so that's what set up that match. And it was a good match. Definitely like the perfect way to open the show. Very technical showing. Probably some of the most technicality you'll see out of Finn Balor. Of course, Timothy Thatcher is all over the guy for the good first few minutes of the match. Thatcher is just completely out wrestling Balor. Balor comes back for a little bit at some point, but he just ends right back in a Kimura lock from Timothy Thatcher. Later in the match, we have Balor attempt a coup de grace, but misses. He injures his leg, and then Thatcher continues. So we pretty much have like a leg limb targeting sort of thing going on. Thatcher's just going after his leg for a whole bunch of the match. But later on for the finish, we had Thatcher, continuing his leg submissions on Balor. Balor somehow manages to roll out, gets a double stomp, climbs up to the top rope, gets a coup de grace, and lands his 1916 DDT for the win. And that would actually make his 12th takeover win. So that's pretty impressive there. Like he's clearly the most frequent winner in takeover history. Right after that, we had Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Cameron Grimes, Velveteen Dream in a ladder match for the North American Championship. So right off the bat, a little bit into the match, we have Cameron Grimes is like putting basically two ladders at once in the ring beside each other, and he's like climbing both of them. And Cameron Grimes is a funny guy. So Priest and Bronson Reed are pulling the ladders apart, and it's causing Grimes to do like a split kind of thing. He's like and his legs are like in a split kind of thing, like Jean Claude Van Damme from that commercial years ago. It was kind of like that, except it didn't end well. He ended up falling on his ass. At one point, we have a pretty cool spot where everybody is in the corner, kind of stuck in the corner behind all these ladders, and Bronson Reed comes up and splashes onto them. Later on, of course, because it's NXT, we get a Tower of Doom spot. Bronson Reed has Gargano, Grimes, and Priest like all on the top rope, and Bronson Reed manages to powerbomb all three of them. That was a really cool spot. Sorry about that. At one point, we had Damian Priest running on the ladder, leaning on the ropes. So the ladder was like leaning on the ropes toward the outside. Damian Priest runs up and jumps onto Reed, Gargano, and Dream. Later on, of course, we had Candice LeRae come out, as of course I'm sure we were all expecting. She comes out to check on Gargano, stops Cameron Grimes from climbing a ladder while everybody's outside of the ring hurt. She starts laying shots at Grimes. Gargano hits Grimes with the ladder, almost hitting Candice. He like pretty much whips the ladder like right into Grimes' face, barely missing Candice LeRae. I popped during that spot because I thought that he like actually hit Candice. I was like, wait, was he supposed to hit Candice or something? But he didn't. Later on, where we have Gargano climbing up the ladder, Bronson Reed meets him at the top, pushes Gargano right off the ladder, and then Candice LeRae climbs up the ladder. So Gargano's down, Bronson Reed's at the top of the ladder. Candice LeRae comes up, again to stop him from getting the title, and then I don't know, like I guess he didn't bother going for the championship. Candice LeRae jumps on his back, and Bronson Reed jumps off this like 15-foot ladder down onto Gargano with Candice LeRae on his back. So poor Gargano had like what, close to 400 pounds of weight just fall right on him from a 15-foot ladder. So that was pretty intense. We had Cameron Grimes later on scaling up the ladder. Gargano climbs the ladder beside Cameron Grimes, and Gargano gets a sunset powerbomb onto Grimes off of the ladder. There was a ladder in one of the ladders. On one side of the ladder, it was in a ladder. On the other side of the ladder, it was on the ropes. I think Gargano wanted to bomb Grimes onto that ladder that was between the ropes and the other ladder, but he kind of missed that, which I guess is good. I don't think Grimes would want to take that spot. But that was really cool to see that sunset powerbomb. Velveteen Dream gets a Dream Valley driver onto Gargano, unfortunately I missed who it was, but somebody on the ladder, so that was a cool spot. At one point, this was probably the biggest spot in the match, like, Velveteen Dream was climbing up one of the ladders, and Bronson Reed is at the bottom of the ladder on the other side, and he just, like, whips the ladder, and Velveteen flies out of the ring, past the barricade, through a table. I think he went through a table. So that was really crazy. They didn't even really pay a whole lot of attention to that spot, to be honest with you, but it was kind of crazy. Later on, we have Cameron Grimes taking the opportunity to climb up the ring. Gargano meets him at the top. Gargano manages to get Grimes off the ladder, so, Gargano's about to win, but no. Damian Priest meets him at the top of the ladder, knocks down Gargano, gets the championship. So there you have it. We have our new North American champion in Damian Priest. So congratulations to him. I do think he was the right guy to win the match. I'm pretty sure he's the oldest dude in that match, and he hasn't won a single title in WWE. So, if any time is good for him to get a championship, it's now. We can't wait much longer for that. So I think that was a perfect outcome. And then after that, we get into one of the bigger matches on the show, which is Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. So we have Adam Cole come out, do his entrance, and then Pat McAfee is backstage before he does his entrance. He cuts a little promo, and he's like talking about how, dude, I have experience selling out houses all over the country or whatever from playing football. And he's like, I'm going to take you out with my legendary kick. I thought that wasn't really needed, but okay. So he cut a little promo there. And so Pat comes out, does his entrance with his henchmen all wearing shirts that says Adam Cole sucks. So yeah, whatever. But I gotta say, man, this guy impressed the hell out of me, man. Like, I wasn't expecting half of what we got out of him in this match. Not even half. I don't think any, like, celebrity, trying out wrestling has impressed me this much ever before. So at the beginning of the match, like, I already kind of got the impression that he knew what he was doing just from the way he's bouncing off the ropes and kind of locking up, just the groundwork for any standard WWE match. He was doing it well. He was moving well. So I was like, okay, I could see that he's at least not super green. Later on in the match, we have Wwe, Undisputed Era, and Pat McAfee's boys all getting in each other's faces. They're tensions heating up. And then out of nowhere, Pat McAfee does a swanton, like, off the top rope to the outside onto the pile of people, onto the 6 or 7 people in that pile. That was super impressive. Very, very good form. Like, yeah, it was a perfect spot. And we had, like, after that, it kind of slowed down a little bit. There's lots of headlocks from McAfee. Later on, Adam Cole comes back and gives a Ushigoroshi to Pat McAfee for a near fall, does a backstabber kind of thing afterwards. Pat, at one point, another big spot in this match, Pat is preparing for a superplex spot. And, they just do the usual, like, the opponent, the victim of the superplex, starts punching to prevent him from doing it. And then the guy flips off of the top rope, because, Adam Cole's punching him, right? So I guess he didn't just want to get down. He flipped off of the top rope, landed on his feet, jumped one jump onto the top rope, and superplexed Adam Cole. That was insane. I'm sure like 60% of the WWE roster can't even do that. So that blew my mind. McAfee attempts a punt to Adam Cole. Adam Cole's kind of hanging off of the apron, like his the upper part of his body is hanging off the apron, and so McAfee attempts to punt him from outside of the ring, but Adam Cole dodges and Pat McAfee like kicks really hard the steel stairs. So there you go. I guess his foot got injured in the match, and that's kind of where the turning point happened. After that, Adam Cole decided to keep going after the leg and connects a figure four. Later on, he gets out. Pat McAfee lands a low blow to Adam Cole in the corner, and then he lands his punt finish. He did land it on his chest, though. He didn't kick him in the face to try and kill him, but that ended up resulting in a near fall. McAfee attempts an axe handle from the top rope, eats a super kick, and then Panama Sunrise from Adam Cole for the win. So of course we pretty much got everything we needed out of this match. We got to actually see some great athleticism from Pat McAfee. We got to see some great wrestling from the guy. And Adam Cole won, right? We don't need the guy losing. There's no way. So next up we had Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. That rhymes. I was rhyming that while I was writing it down. I was like, Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. That really slides off the tongue. For the NXT Women's Championship. Pretty good match. At the beginning of the match, I noticed that Io Shirai, like, she likes to hype up the beginning of her matches with those, like, flips. So she'll do, like, those flips where I can't even explain, but she does a whole bunch of flips, like athletic, like gymnastic style kind of flips. She kind of landed on her face, and it looked like she was taken out for a second. Like, she kind of stopped wrestling for, like, a good 3-4 seconds. She was like, I landed on my face. I kind of laughed. But she seemed to be fine. The rest of the match went okay. Later on in the match, we got a few cool near falls. We got Io Shirai hitting a tiger feint kick and a flying drop kick for a near fall at one point. Dakota Kai was targeting the left arm with technical offense throughout this match. Shirai connects her 3-corner knees and connects her double stomp for a near fall. Dakota Kai connects a backstabber for a near fall later on, connects an arm bar, which went on for a while until Io Shirai was able to catch the rope. Dakota Kai kept connecting great offense, connected her GTK for a near fall. Kai attempts to kick Shirai, and then Io Shirai ducks, and the ref eats the kick, so the ref is dead. Io Shirai, after the ref is dead, Io Shirai starts coming back. She gets her moonsault finish. Of course, she can't really do much because the referee is dead. So, yep. So then Raquel Gonzalez comes out, or comes into the ring. She came out initially with Dakota Kai. But since the referee's dead, she took the opportunity to land her finish to Io Shirai, her choke slam kind of thing. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to call it that until there's like a name. The choke slam thing. And then after she lands that move, she wakes up the referee. Dakota Kai is covering Io Shirai for a near fall. So we didn't actually successfully win the championship there for Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai attempts another GTK finish. Shirai catches her into a crossface. Later on, she connects her moonsault for a second time. This time, she wins. So we have a retain from Io Shirai. She is still our NXT Women's Champion. Right after the match, Raquel Gonzalez immediately attacks, barely gives Io Shirai any chance to celebrate her win. She attacks her from behind, and then Rhea Ripley comes out, and they were just face to face. Nothing really happened. So I guess that's hyping up a match for Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. It was the same kind of problem that I had on the NXT show, though. It's just why should I care about Dakota Kai? She barely got anything in before the match, building up the program. She barely got anything in on Io Shirai. She loses, and then after she loses, it's her manager in the spotlight hyping up a match with Rhea Ripley. So it's okay, I guess Dakota Kai is just kind of in the background. So that was that. After the match, we got a couple cool commercials. We saw that NXT UK is returning in September, as well as next week Wednesday we're going to see Ciampa return to NXT. And then afterwards, we cut to Damian Priest being interviewed about his title win, and he's like, well, if you want to, join the party, whatever, we're going to be partying. And then he goes into a hot tub with these two beautiful women. So you can imagine how the rest of his night turned out. It must have been great. And then we get to our main event, Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee for the NXT Championship. So, of course, we start with Karrion Kross's entrance, which is always great spectacle to see. With Scarlett, Keith Lee comes out, and right off the bat in the match, we had Keith Lee dominating just a little bit, kind of scares away Karrion Kross. He decides to exit the ring and, kind of rethink his strategy. There's a cool little spot where Karrion Kross was like outside of the ring leaning Keith Lee on the pods where the fans are, or not pods, on the plexiglass, I should say, where the fans are. And he attempts to punch, and then he just punches the plexiglass. And then Keith Lee did the same spot, so he punches and Karrion Kross dodges, but when he punches a plexiglass, it just explodes, and it's like hanging down. He just blows up the plexiglass. So that was pretty funny. After that spot, Karrion Kross had been dominating the match for like a long time, for like 10 minutes. He's just targeting the left arm of Keith Lee, submissions and so forth. Tables had turned when Keith Lee reversed one of the submissions that Karrion Kross was doing into a powerbomb. When a guy has a dude in an armbar and then the guy gets up and then lifts him and powerbombs him like Roman Reigns used to do. That was basically that spot. After that, we got a big clothesline near fall. Kross gets his chokehold in on Lee. And then we get the spot where the ref is lifting the arm to see if he's still alive. He's still alive. He lifts his arm. Lee connects a spirit bomb for a near fall, and then there came the finish, which was very underwhelming. Karrion Kross just gets Keith Lee into a back superplex position. I don't even know if it was on the top rope. I would have to reconfirm that. It might have been from the second rope. Lands a back superplex and wins the NXT Championship. Just like that. And there I was saying, a few days ago, I don't think Keith Lee should be losing the title like this. What's next for Keith Lee now? Like, you give him both titles in the brand. You make him the biggest deal, kind of in the history of NXT. He's the only person who ever won 2 singles titles. You make him relinquish the North American Championship. I guess in hindsight, that seems like a stupid idea because now he has nothing. And then you make him in a month lose a title to some guy. Like in the lamest finish in the world. So I was disappointed that I didn't like the main event, actually, to be honest. There's a couple of spots I mentioned, but overall, I didn't think it was a great match. I hated the finish. I hate that Keith Lee lost the title. We'll see what happens. I don't know, if Keith Lee's going to get a rematch. From like a character standpoint, I don't really feel like he should. Like he just, I said it last time, I'll say it again, he looks like a bitch. He drops his title voluntarily, and then he loses his next one, just like that. Like, give him a rematch if you want to, but I'm just not going to be so invested in the match. And then, if they don't do a rematch, it's like, well, what do you do with Karrion Kross? I guess you could put him up against all the baby faces, and that's well and good, but... Well, anyway, the sun is still shining, everything is still okay, even though this match sucked. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, maybe more than I did, but... yeah, we'll be right back with AEW this Thursday. We're going to check it out. Of course, we had a big match, Brody Lee winning the TNT title this week. So we'll be back next week to review AEW. Thanks again for tuning in.